This content is from the creator beta server. Yes, that's correct, the content creator server.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
So we're gonna do a general guide, first impression, team rotation, optimization, theoretical calcs, and some practical showcases. This is Harumasa. He didn't do it. It wasn't him. This is the face of a trustworthy man. Honestly, trust him with my life. He didn't do anything wrong, okay? Look at that face. That's a trustable face. This is Harumasa. He's Zenless's free S-rank attack character. In the past, I've called him barely better than Anton. That was wrong. He is much better than Anton and an incredible character for anyone just coming into the game in version 1.4 or anyone who fell off early. His teams can use all free characters and his damage is more than good enough. Before we talk about that, if you've checked the Maybe video, you're familiar with the drive disk situation. But if you're missed, we're going to quickly catch you up. These are the builds in the creator server. As I was explaining, initially, I was very worried about Harumasa's performance. I'm very thankful to report rumors of his death were greatly exaggerated. He is roughly comparable to the 1.0 attack characters, if you know how to play him correctly, and he has some benefits over them, but also some downsides. Let's start by explaining how to get maximum performance out of Harumasa. He plants traps, or we're gonna jokingly refer to them as balls, with his EX special attack, his basic attack 5, his chain attack, and when an anomaly is applied to the enemy. The anomaly effect is on a 12-second cooldown. By holding the basic attack input on PC, Harumasa will enter an aim stance where he shoots an arrow. By shooting an arrow, he detonates his balls and enters the enhanced state. When he is in the enhanced state, he is able to do dash attacks. If the enemy is stunned or inflicted by an attribute anomaly, he will be able to do 4 dash attacks. So Harumasa's goal is to engage when the enemy is suffering an anomaly or stunned. So his gameplay is do 4 dashes, EX or base attack 5, and then dash again, and then potentially do it a 3rd time. The biggest rotation optimization tip is to cancel his EX special and his base attack 5 with swap actions or ultimates. So if we're gonna theoretically play around stun with Chingy Nicole, let's say the rotation could look something like this. Chain attack, charge shot, 4 dashes, base attack 5 or EX, swap cancel, support ult, charge shot, detonate, boom. 4 dashes, EX, ult, charge, 4 dashes. So we're targeting 12 per stun window with 2 EXs or 1 EX and a base attack 5 and an ult. If you've read Harumasa's passive, then you would know as he is doing his dash attacks, the attacks will have 25% crit rate and additional 12% crit damage, stacking up to 6 times. This passive is on a timer, so as long as he is continuing to link his attacks, this crit damage will always be applied. His additional ability is activated by an anomaly character or a stun character in the party. This should always be active for him. It's not mandatory. It's bonus damage when enemies are stunned or under an anomaly. And it is the bonus charges for his dash, or to go from 3 to 4 dashes, so it's not optional. Skill priority. Harumasa's enhanced dash attacks, or dash attacks, are under his dodge skill level. So his highest skill priority is dodge. So it is dodge, chain, EX, basic, assist, in that order, with dodge and chain being the 2 most important ones. Like, comment, subscribe. We're gonna try to do more Zenless content. More Genshin content is coming. Did you know most of you watching are not currently subscribed? You should subscribe. Drive discs. Harumasa can use any of the 3 options for drive disc slot 4, crit rate, crit damage, or attack percent. The choice between crit rate or crit damage / attack percent is going to come down to how much crit rate he has. Harumasa's crit rate is 100% at 75 crit rate. So get 75 crit rate. And then after that, you can build crit damage or attack percent. Crit damage and attack percent are roughly comparable, depending on how many substats you have in each stat and what team you're playing, as in the more attack buffs you have, the less attack percent will be great. You get the idea. You know how this works. Slot 5 can be any of the three: electric, attack percent, or pen. The general front runner here is going to be attack percent, but you can use pen if you play with Rena, and you can use electric percent always. The differences between the three don't really matter. Just don't give up the opportunity to have better substats. Roll everything. Use what you get. Roll with the blows. Okay, pen is technically worse if you play Nicole, and you should be playing Nicole. Spoiler alert. So realistically, it's electric or attack percent. But I have to mention pen because some people will play with Rena, even if I don't advise it. It's attack. Real simple. There's one option. It's attack. This is the complete opposite of the Mibi video, where I went on this whole tangent, and it's more than half the segment. Even more than that, just talking about slot 6. Nope, there's one option here. It's attack. Use attack. It's really hard to get good subs on slot 6, but I believe you'll find a way. Okay, sets. So this is a chart comparing all of the sets. I'm going to explain the nuance between the options because you can see there are 2 sets, but each one is listed twice. Thunder Metal is the strongest set in the game, dun dun dun, while its conditional is active. The downside being that the conditional is if the enemy is currently affected by the shock anomaly. Harumasa can fulfill this, and he can maintain uptime on it, but a stray disorder, or just accidentally having the shock expire outside of your control, essentially, can cause dramatic performance shifts for Thunder Metal. So the 2 numbers are with the passive active and without the passive active. The more generic set option is Hormone Punk. Hormone Punk is a set with limited uptime on its buffs, so it is a swap in and do damage every 10 seconds or so set, which does fit with Harumasa. However, his uptime can extend to a degree in which Hormone Punk falls off at the tail end of his combo. If you are able to know when it falls off, if you do 3 dash sets or 3 sets of dashes, it will fall off just as you're doing the 3rd set of dashes. So you want to make sure that you do most of your damage before then, which means you want to ult before then, which minimizes the difference between full uptime Thunder Metal and Hormone Punk, which is why I generally am willing to recommend Hormone Punk, but I was able to play both in game, and I did not have a noticeable difference in the clears. So realistically, I'm just going to say it comes down to personal preference and what you're willing to contend with, and what you're willing to look for. I do think Hormone Punk is a more generically good option, as in it can be more useful on more characters at this moment. So I am currently recommending Hormone Punk more, but Thunder Metal has the capability to be better and is technically better. Engines, W engines. So Harumasa's W engines are very simple. He has 3 options in this order: Zanshin Herb Case, Brimstone, Mercado. Okay? Keep it simple. Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid. Mwah. Maybe cut that.
No, I don't think I will.
Let's start with Zanshin Herb Dispenser. Zanshin Herb Dispenser is Harumasa's S-rank engine option. It is his best in slot overclock 1 engine. You assume overclock 1 on every S-rank engine. The additional crit rate can cause some build difficulties if your Nicole is M6. In my opinion, this is a non-issue. If you are willing to invest pulls to take Harumasa up a level, this is a 15% increase over Mercado and a 8% increase over Brimstone. So we're going to quickly address Mercado. So Mercado is the free engine in version 1.4. As long as you have completed chapter 2 of the story, you can participate in the event to get this engine. You should use this engine. If you do not have Brimstone or Zanshin Herb Dispenser, you should use Mercado. It's going to be free to get to overclock 5. It doesn't cost resources to obtain. It just takes time because you just have to do an event, and it's an easy event. You should use Mercado. So if you are just joining and you haven't already leveled a rank attack engine like Starlight Engine, you should not waste your time with Starlight Engine. Mercado is better, and it is cheaper because it is literally free, as in it has no resource costs to obtain, unlike Starlight Engine. So Mercado is just better. If you've already built Starlight Engine and already leveled it, sure, you can use it. Mercado is better. Okay, let's talk about Brimstone. Brimstone is the option between Zancian Herb Dispenser and Mercado. It is technically free. You can get it from the standard banner. You can buy it in the shop at the cost of 30 wishes. It is technically free. Technically. On my personal account, I will be using Overclock 5 Brimstone over Zancian Herb Dispenser because it is technically better. That being said, it does require a number of overclocks to outpace Zancian Herb Dispenser. And you could say, why would you not pull more Zancian Herb Dispensers instead? Yada yada. But yeah, Brimstone is very good. 8% behind Zancian, and it can outscale, or it can be better than Overclock 1 Zancian Herb Dispenser with overclocks on Brimstone. Not equal. Teams. Teams are very simple. In my opinion, Harumasa's teams will all include Nicole. I think Nicole is the best support character, period, for Harumasa. He really benefits from the grouping. He really benefits from the swap cancels. He really benefits from Nicole's damage. It's kind of just a good relationship. They're friends. A lot of people want to use Rena, and a lot of people may use Lucy. I think Nicole is just better than both, and she's free. This is a quick comparison for the buffs between Nicole and Rena. This is accounting for build differences, so accounting for having less crit rate because Nicole not being present, and counting and using pen slot 5 because you want to use pen slot 5 with Rena. It's technically an increase. Even if you account for all that stuff, even if your Rena is M1, Nicole's just better, and it's not by an insignificant degree. Hey, just use Nicole, man. Stop complicating it. Just use Nicole. The most basic or standard team for Harumasa is going to be Nicole Ching-Yi. This is a team you see very frequently with a lot of characters, but primarily Jien or Anton. So I'm going to use this as a chance to discuss the Anton comparison. Harumasa is just straight up 30% better than Anton. Harumasa is much more comparable to Ellen or Jien than he is to Anton. Here is a clip showing Harumasa and Anton against a Shiyu boss. Both of them have their S-rank engines in this comparison. That is Brimstone for Anton, but if you were curious.
Together you will be alone. Come on. Okay.
So you can see the side by side. Harumasa should be clearing faster. This is what happens if you put Anton on Mercado, the A rank engine option. He falls short of the damage to kill on the second stun. So let's that.
He makes up for it with this memorable ring attack and another ring bomb since Wish. Amy has this incredible triple that can combo into a quad and pull on any platform.
During stun, Ellen and Harumasa do roughly the same damage, which is a fair bit behind Jien, but Harumasa can do damage out of stun similar to Ellen, which is not useful in Ching-Yi teams, but it's much more useful without Ching-Yi teams. What separates Harumasa from Jien, in my opinion, is his compatibility without Ching-Yi, meaning Harumasa's resources are much more abundant or much cheaper, lower commitment to obtain, allowing Harumasa to very easily do damage outside of stun, so you get punished less for using someone like Anbi in place of Ching-Yi. So you can play Harumasa, Nicole, Anbi, and it's really not, it's not terrible. It's better than you would think. Here are some clips The left should be with Zanchin Herb Case, the right one should be with Mikado. Just so you have the comparison and whether or not you feel like you want to, whether or not you want to pull for Zanchin Herb Case over Mikado.
Together you will be alone. Come on. Okay.
If you happen to get Kaleda from Standard Banner, you can use her in place of Anby for a small upgrade, but keep in mind many electric weak enemies are in fact fire resistant, which will make Kaleda just worse than Anby when that happens. We can also throw up a side-by-side comparing Harumasa and Jiyen against a electric weak enemy with a Shiyu Blessing that gives an extra 25% electric damage.
Together you will be alone. Come on. Okay.
And you can see that the clear times are pretty similar. So I want to reiterate, because I don't want the point to be lost, I'm not dogging on Harumasa. I think Harumasa is great. I think he's an amazing character for new players coming into version 1.4. His best teams use effectively free characters. Nicole is just free, period, and best in slot. And then if you don't have Qingyi, you're going to use Anby, and Anby is also free. These are literally no pull required characters. It's just good. He's so good for coming into the game. It's solid. The damage may not be the best thing in the world, and he may be a little awkward, and his AoE might be a little small. These are the downsides to him. They're not deal breakers. They're really not. If you've been playing since 1.0 religiously and you've pulled every character, you could justify not building him pretty easily, but that doesn't really matter. He's so good as an early game carry for an account. He's basically a free second side. Well, you pair this with Miyabi on banner, and the Miyabi banner is Hyper Sokaku, which is a free-to-play option for Miyabi. So you just straight up have two teams with very few pulls, which means you can invest in engines for bonus damage. It just works. I have very little negative to say about that. But if you are looking to spend more pulls on Harumasa outside of his engine, let's talk Mindscape cinema levels. A lot of people think Mindscape cinema level 1 isn't fantastic. I can agree it's not fantastic, but I think there's serious quality of life here. It changes his set of 4 dashes to have the ability to go up to 7. So in theory, you can replace 3 sets of 4 with 2 sets of 7 and get a small damage gain. This reduces the margin for error and points of failure in his rotation. Even if it isn't a on-paper increase, the practicality here should be noticeable. Much like GN Zone M1, where it doesn't actually do that much, but the practicality increase makes a lot of people really care for it. Continuing the GN comparison, his M2 is straight up the same. It's 50 damage percent, which is a good Mindscape cinema level. His M3 is +2 skill levels. So if you want to just do pulls on him because you love Harumasa, M1, M2, M3 are not bad places to be. You also get the name card at M3, which is bling. You get to flex on your friends. It's pretty cool. M4 doesn't do anything. M5 is M3 again, and M6 is 15% electric res ignore and an extra 1,500% scale damage per charge attack. If we're doing 2 sets of 7, then it's activating twice, which is fine. Currently, I'm not the biggest fan of Mindscape cinema levels on characters, so forgive me for being a bit dismissive about it. His set certainly isn't terrible. It's not the best in the world, but it's not terrible. So yeah, that is Harumasa. He is #1 early game carry. Just straight up, he's great for doing that. He's great for having a second side. And the fact that he's free just kind of makes him really good, and it makes the opinion of him much more positive than it otherwise would be. I think Harumasa is very solid and very worth building if you're looking for a second DPS.